Labour's digital ID plan is being criticised for paving the way to allow gender self-identification. Women's rights groups fear digital ID could let people declare a preferred gender instead of biological sex, potentially putting vulnerable people at risk in public services. Professor Alice Sullivan, who reviewed government data on sex and gender, says recording biological sex is essential, or sex should not be recorded at all. Where moments ago, the Science Secretary, Liz Kendall, defended digital ID in the House of Commons.
Bringing in a new digital ID is about far more than replacing numerous bits of paper just to prove who you are. It's about changing the way the state interacts with its citizens. Second reason for introducing digital ID is to offer greater security and actually greater control over your own data.
Is digital ID now dangerous to women? It was wonderful listening to Liz, actually, because she clearly didn't believe what she was saying. But never mind. I'm joined now by the Chief Executive of Sex Matters, Mayor Forstater. Thank you so much for joining me. I think digital ID is a pretty rotten idea anyway. But if people can self-identify as whatever they feel like, it becomes nonsensical, particularly in light of the Supreme Court judgment, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it becomes nonsensical in two ways. One is when you need to prove your sex or somebody needs to know your sex. If the government identity that says M or F doesn't mean anything, then you can't trust it. You can't trust it for healthcare. You can't trust it for who's allowed into a gym changing room or who can play in women's sports. But also, if people can change their identity from male to female and disappear from their old life just by signing a letter, they don't have to do anything, and then do it again. They could go back to being male with a different name, different identity, and completely break the chain between who they were and who they're presenting themselves to be. So the digital identity, if it's going to work at all, it has to do one thing, which is allow people to prove who they are and facts about themselves. And the government is just sleepwalking into something like the Post Office Horizon scandal with what they're doing with digital identity by ignoring that sex cannot change.
Well, in a way, for those of us who oppose digital ID, it makes the whole thing absurd, because if you can change your ID whenever you feel like it, then it doesn't serve any useful purpose at all. You can't prove who you are, you can't prove your right to access public services, you can't even prove which loo you should go into. I mean, it does become a nonsensical but very expensive policy.
Yes, and the problem is it's building on top of government data which is already corrupted. So it's going to depend on data that's held by the Passport Office, the Driving Licence Authority and the NHS, for example, which are seen as being authoritative sources. But all of those public bodies have been allowing people to change their sex as recorded for the past 30 years. We don't know how many people have done it. According to the census, it could be up to 100,000 people, and they've not kept any records.
So I've just renewed my passport, actually. So could I have said that I was a girl, just on the off chance that that might be useful to me? Is that really the case?
You could have written to the if you happen to be a cross-dresser, and I don't know what you do at the weekend. If you happen to be a cross-dresser and you decided that now you wanted to live as your true self forevermore, somebody like Eddie Izzard, who for years and years said, these are women's clothes. These are not women's clothes. They're my clothes. Now Eddie Izzard would like to be called Susie. If you were to do something like that and write to the Passport Office and say, I've been a cross-dresser for many years and now I'd like to live in a female identity, they would give you a female passport.
No, they wouldn't.
All right. Well, that's absolutely extraordinary. No. And I think it makes the whole case for digital ID absurd. Thank you very much, Mayor.